Don't go broke in a nursing home. You know, it sounds simple, but man, I'm telling you what, after talking to Larry Weiss and his team at Elder Advisors, it's much more complex than you think. You need professional help. Don't go broke in a nursing home. With me now is Larry Weiss, along with his team here. We've got Denise Manicky-Ice. We have Steve Langdon. And welcome back, Larry. Now, I wasn't here last week. Did you miss me?
John, did you just feel that? The Earth just settled on its axis. It just settled on its axis because, wait for it, John Ramsey's in the house. I mean, I'm going to sleep a lot better tonight because I was just, Michael did a great job.
Yes.
But I think he got too big for his britches because he sent me a text and said, Larry, there's unofficial stories. I'm going to start a Great Morning Jefferson County show, kind of a competitor for you. And he wanted me as the talent agent to book for the first week. I said, I'm totally devoted to John Ramsey.
Thank you.
And at the risk of certain people in Indiana mistaking that little sign, I'm still totally in love with Wave 3.
There we go. Thank you very much. So your loyalty remains.
Don't ever doubt me, John Ramsey, Wave 3 listens
That's important.
live.
That's important.
It's important to me, baby.
And also the information they provide at Elder Advisors. Okay, I want to introduce each member of your team and exactly what they do. But beforehand, for those who have not seen Larry Weiss on, and boy, are you in for a treat, if you would, tell them what Elder Advisors does.
Well, in a nutshell, John, what Elder Advisors does is we help families transition their loved ones from their homes to home health care, assisted living, or long-term care using financial and legal strategies to protect those families' assets so they don't go broke in a nursing home. That's why we're doing the workshops tonight in Louisville at the Four Points by Sheraton at 6 o'clock, and of course tomorrow at the Hampton Inn in in Clarksville on Broadway Street off Veterans Parkway. And I kind of opened the program up because we want to appeal to people that it's never too late. We invite Kentuckiana to come out tonight. It's never too late. One of the biggest problems we have is trying to impress upon people that, Gus at the coffee club at McDonald's or Agnes at the hair salon Saturday, they don't know everything. It may be well-intentioned, but unless they do this every day like Steve Langdon does at McNeely Stevenson, they're probably giving them wrong information. So that's really why we're doing the workshops tonight, to invite people to come out and realize it's never too late, because for husbands and wives, if one spouse is in a nursing home, we can protect all the assets.
And here's what I found, and I found this to be true, is sometimes maybe your fear is you're going, okay, what does it cost me to have Elder Advisors? The amount you can save is so much more. To me, it's minuscule compared to what you could save, because it's somewhat of a chess game that you're playing with people trying to pull at your money. Right. And if you know what you're doing legally, if you know what you're doing not with your real estate, like you said, protecting assets, and you know that.
Right, absolutely. And the workshop is free. The consultations that we invite the families to come in are free. And often I tell people at the workshop, sometimes they're there 5 minutes. When they come in for a free consultation with Mr. Langdon, he'll look at their legal documents or power of attorney documents and say, well, you kind of did this or did that. I think you're probably okay. And they were out in 5 minutes. There is, of course, the workshop tonight. The delightful Denise Manicky, my executive vice president of the company, doing a great job sharing her insights. And now would probably be a good time for Denise to kind of overview.
Yeah, and Denise, your background is interesting because you were on the other side. I talk about people who really are fighting for your money, not fighting for your money, but they have the information.
Yeah.
And you've got to tell them, how did you get into this? Because I think it's interesting.
I've got into this because for almost a decade, I worked as a supervisor in the long-term care department for the state. And basically, I was most people's worst enemy because I gave them bad news pretty much 9 out of 10 times, revolving door that I told people, you're going to have to lose all of your assets. You're going to have to spend everything that you have saved your entire life for at the nursing home. And once it's all gone, once the well's dried up, then come back and I'll see at that point if I can help you.
Speaking back to loyalty then, so the partnership between you and Larry was a natural because you have information that people need. You knew it, you couldn't share it before, now you can share it. Right?
Yeah, the state is never looking for ways to help pay benefits. They're not going to, I could never give any kind of helpful hints. I mean, that was drilled into your mind from the get-go, is that you can never give a referral to someone like Larry Weiss at Elder Advisors or Steve Langdon. Even though I had that information, I could not share that because you're not looking for ways to help pay benefits. It's just the way it is.
Which is a perfect segue to Steve Langdon because, on the show constantly I'm telling you that, and the viewers of Kentuckiana, that I surround myself with top talent. And, excuse me, Tammy, the producer. Tammy, I'm not interested in buying cookies for your daughter for Girl Scouts right now. Is inappropriate. Thank you. Okay, producer, I know what's going on here, Tammy. Okay. So this is live television, Tammy. This isn't good. So in any event, Steve Langdon is certainly an important component because, you know, when I declare that we can protect all the assets for husband and wife or for a single person about half, we need a legal component and we need the right legal component. That's what Steve Langdon brings to the table. So he's very much a part of this concept.
And your story is interesting too, because although you've always been in the legal profession, Steve, you had a personal story as well.
Right, I did. Went through with a family member who ended up in a nursing home, and at the time I was a litigator. I would go to court, argue on behalf of my clients. I didn't know anything about nursing homes or Medicaid, but I'm the attorney in the family, so I get some of those questions, and I didn't know the answers. So if you could make a mistake, I made it. I've been there, and it cost a lot of money, those mistakes I made. And so I dove right into this subject and have spent my career helping folks that were in my situation, my family situation, so that I can make sure that they don't go broke in a nursing home. In fact, I had a phone call Friday from a longtime friend, but I probably hadn't seen him in 10 or 15 years. He saw me on your show Friday, and he gave me a call. His wife, unfortunately, is now in a nursing home, and he's scared to death they're going to go broke, that he's just going to lose it all. And he doesn't have to. And that's the
good
great
news.
thing about our job,
Yes.
my job. I'll bring him in. We're going to talk to him this week. I'm going to take all that off his shoulders.
You know what's interesting about elder advisors? I don't think there's anyone who does what you do. I mean, that is really turnkey.
No.
Every aspect of that transition, you can take care of and
Right.
make sure they protect their assets. That's what it's all about.
All right, Tammy, the producer, saying, Larry, tell about the competition. Tammy, we don't have any competition, okay? We are the competition. We're very good at what we do. Are we perfect? No. Do we make mistakes? Yes. But what happens is, if we forget to dot an I or cross a T, I stay in the room and I fix it, as evidenced by our email this morning, Mr. Langdon. Sure. Okay, so what happens so many times is basically people cut and run. They give people paperwork, here, fill this out, when you get it back, if it takes them 3 or 4 months to get back to them, they've moved on. So, you know, I kind of talked about this last week with Michael, is you have to have accountability and be willing to stand up and take the licks. Because sometimes, you know, the ball gets dropped. Sometimes I'm going to drop the ball, but you're measured by getting back up, not by dropping the ball. So it's very tedious. There's a lot to it. So if we're going to be able to protect all the assets for a husband and wife or for a single person about half, there's certainly that legal component, and you have to have the right attorney. Steve is a trial attorney. He's a litigator. He was a former prosecutor in Clark County. He knows where the courthouse is. And if you're going to do this every day like Steve does, you have to have the bona fides
Sure.
to back it up. And I feel that Steve does, because you have to be very aggressive in taking the state to task when they say no, when we know the answer really should be yes.
I would think, and Denise and Steve, both of you, well, actually all three of you can answer this one, that what you do would be very rewarding, because there are people who are literally lost when this happens, as you said, your friend. And I'm sure that's usually the case. It's like, what do I do from here? But when you can really help them and give them peace of mind, and know, you know what, I can financially do this, and I didn't think I could. How does that feel, Denise?
It feels awesome because you're already dealing with a family who is extremely stressed, often very distraught. You know, their mother, or their father, or their loved one is going into long-term care. You know, no one likes the sound of that. That's not anything to celebrate.
Right.
So, you know, these people are already very upset, very distraught, and to be able, and then to try to navigate through the field of trying to get benefits to help pay $7,000 to $9,000 a month, it's extremely overwhelming. I mean, I can't even put it into words. So to be able to take that burden off of their shoulders just a little bit, you know, we can't take it all away, but to be able to at least take the financial burden off of them and help do some of the leg work for them, I mean, that feeling is great. It's
Steve,
awesome.
and you've been through this before, but I wanted to ask you about this. Although, you know, he kids and he has fun, but he's very good at what he does, and he is
Yeah.
very serious. When it comes down to getting in the trenches, you want him in your foxhole.
Very much
right?
so. You know, in fact, just a short story. From time to time, I'll get referrals from other folks trying to do what Elder Advisors does. I got a call from some clients that I'd done some work for. They had gone to another, I guess a competitor, I don't know, in town, who had made a mistake and quit returning phone calls and wouldn't respond to them. And these folks are running through $7,000 to $8,000 a month.
Ooh.
Right.
Time is of the essence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I reached out to Elder Advisors, and you know what this guy did? He jumped right in. He didn't know these folks, hadn't been paid a dime. He jumped right in.
The Muhammad Ali of elder care, right here.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee,
The
baby.
goat, the goat.
If you have any questions, 571-5263. So we have all of this expertise here. So any questions about maybe mom or dad, your grandfather, your grandmother, maybe they're going through that transition or getting ready to. There's a question for you.
What?
So when is the time to call Elder Advisors?
Now,
Yeah.
because basically at the workshop we talk about pre-planning, which are people will, what can we do down the road to protect assets? Steve talks a lot about that tonight. Pre-planning, they've been through the probate before, they've been through a nursing home issue before, they want to avoid it for their kids. That's pre-planning. Steve spends a lot of time talking about that tonight. The other extreme is crisis planning. We're going through that $7,000, $8,000 a month. What do? We can fix that. And then the third variable is pre-crisis planning. Dad's home right now. I'm sorry, John. Man, that guy's beautiful. I just can't take my eyes
Oh,
off of him.
goodness.
I think there's a beautiful
That's
woman to the left, but I'm just looking at that beautiful man in the middle. I'm a little partial. But in any event, then the third variable is pre-crisis planning. Steve, you've got the chops too, baby. You're good looking too. Don't ever discount your
No,
masculinity.
absolutely.
You're just
Fabulous.
easy on the eyes. Fabulous. But the third is pre-crisis planning. Dad's home now. He had some rehab. We're not sure. Well, there's things that we can do now as we ramp up towards possibly dealing with the nursing home issue. The main thing is never assume it's too late, because it is not. Kentucky Anna come out to the workshops tonight. 4 Points by Sheraton, 6 o'clock. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Hampton Inn in Clarksville.
All right,
It's
there's
never
the
too late.
workshop information. We'll put that up again, so go grab a pen. We're going to take a break, and if you have questions now, 571-5263. Once again, Elder Advisors, don't go broke in a nursing home. We'll be back. Don't go broke in a nursing home. We're going to give you that workshop information in a second, but before we do that, I always wonder about a company like yours. It's unique. You have no competition. You do it all.
We are the competition.
So, you are the so how did you get started, Larry?
Well, I've been doing this since '96, and we're with the Better Business Bureau, A+ rating. We've got a Facebook page. But more than that, we work past 5 o'clock. We work on the weekends. Steve was saying during the break he met with the family yesterday. If you're going to do this and do it effectively, you have to be people-oriented and work hours outside the conventional 9 to 5. And a couple of shout-outs. Hello to my wife, Lucy Weiss. Hi, Lucy. I love you. And also a shout-out to my future ex-wife, April Rogers. Hi, April. How you doing?
Hi, April.
Hi, April.
I like that.
Thank you.
We
Don't
have-
use it.
571-5263. Maurice has joined us now, and I think has a question or a comment. Maurice, welcome in.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to thank Larry and Denise and Steve for all the excellent work that they've rendered to my family. And if anyone out there, you'd be making a very wise choice to select Elder Advisors.
Wow, Maurice, thank you. So I'm
Thank you,
assuming.
Maurice.
Thank you,
you.
Maurice. We had no idea he was doing that.
No, not at all.
Well, I saw you guys nodding, though. You are familiar with Maurice's
Yeah,
story.
extremely.
And I don't know how much I should share because I didn't get permission.
Sweet
but,
man.
but it all worked out well for him. That's the
Yeah.
bottom line here.
Yeah.
We're working on it still right now.
Yeah, and a large component of that is Steve Langdon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to do this effectively, you need a legal component. Most certainly with Maurice's situation, you need the legal, and Steve has always went to bat for this gentleman. Truly, truly, it does take a team effort to do
Steve,
that.
I want to ask you, I don't want to get into details, obviously, and you cannot of that case, but but it's kind of a moving target, though, isn't it? I mean, you have to keep up to date with all these. There's law changes, there's legislation that moves all the time, correct?
Yeah, there is, and it's even more than that. Oftentimes it'll come down to individual offices or individual caseworkers. They'll have their certain preferences that we have to work in. And so part of my job is just to make sure that, and I don't mean this the wrong way, just to make sure that they understand what the current law is, what the current practices are, what the federal law is, and make sure the caseworker, when they're analyzing the case, is going not by what the coworker down the hall said, but actually what the real law is, because we run into that from time to time.
That really does happen.
Yeah, they have their common practices, whether it's in Jefferson County, Kentucky, or you're over in Floyd or Clark County, Indiana. They'll treat it differently because it's a common practice in that area. Frankly, this is a federal law. To some extent, I don't care what the common practices are. We go by the federal law. That's what works. That's what we do.
I like hearing
And,
that.
and as I tell people all the time, I'm not an attorney. I give financial advice. I don't give legal advice. And I'm going to go a little step further with the story that Steve was outlining where someone else was doing this. I don't file Medicaid. I don't even know where the Medicaid offices are,
You're
much less
way
in
too delicate.
casework. I'm far too delicate. And Tammy said, too beautiful. Thank you, Tammy. We're friends now. So in any event, I don't do the Medicaid filing. We get the file ready to turn over to the law office. There are people out there that will probably do what I would say a la carte would probably be a good example, where they'll do the application, but as soon as there's a speed bump, oh, now I need an attorney. Now I need an attorney. So part of what the attorney's having to do is undo the mess that the self-starter was trying to do. Well, I don't get near that. We do the financials, we get it to the attorney, and as I said in the earlier segment, if there's a mistake, I'm going to own it and I'm going to fix it. But it's on my end, and I'm not making the attorney's job that much more difficult. He does the legal part, we do the financial part. If you're going to do it correctly, you have to do it that way.
Okay, workshops tonight. Is there room for folks who are watching now and may have a question because there's going to be, and what will be covered too?
Well, basically, as I said earlier, we basically talk about it's never too late. Unless they've already spent down to $2,000, well, they really don't need our help. They're broke. It's unfortunate. But if they're in a nursing home now and they're still paying $7,000, it's still not too late. We can still protect the remaining assets. Okay? If it's a husband and wife, we can shift all the assets. Steve calls them special exceptions to the at-home spouse so they lose nothing. So we're going to talk about crisis planning, which is what I just shared with you. Pre-planning. Half the families that come in for the schedule day for the free consultations are there to do pre-planning. Yeah. I'm meeting families this afternoon that we met 6 weeks ago to deliver documents the attorney set up, and just kind of play delivery on some other things to go with the family. So that was pre-planning. But you need to keep an open mind. It's never too late to protect those assets.
Okay, we're going to put up the information for tonight's workshop. Now, for folks who maybe can't make it tonight, how can they keep up with future workshops?
Well, they can always visit the website elderadvisors.com. They can log in to get on our email list, and they can certainly call us today, 855-LARRY-55, if they're not able to get to a website to find out the workshop tonight or tomorrow. But we're always available. We make ourselves available at all times, except for April Rogers. She's clingy. She's starting to stalk me. I am married to April Rogers, so stop it. Other than that, we're in good shape.
What members of your team will be present tonight? And I encourage you to go tonight.
Well, certainly our superstar, Denise Manicky, the former Medicaid person at the L&M building that spent 10 years saying no, making people cry. Now she makes people happy.
Yes.
And of course, the legal component, Steve Langdon, dealing with the legal part. Tim Goebel, our best kept secret. He's at registration. He's the one that meets the families. He's the one that becomes everybody's best friend, that works with Maurice, as Maurice alluded to when he called.
All right,
So we're
once
always
again
there.
tonight, Elder Advisors Don't Go Broke in a Nursing Home. Enjoy the day, and we'll see you tomorrow right here for the Tuesday edition of Wave 3 Listens Live.